Cyril Gane did not come to run. Cyril Gane came to play, and it was very evident from the very start of the fight. Normally, Cyril Gane is a guy that bounces around on the outside. He took the space and went right at Aspinall.
A lot of people expected Cyril Gane to be light on his feet and dancing around and kind of avoiding the fight because of the grappling, but he was happy to stand and trade and go toe to toe. These two were exchanging blows. Cyril stopped the one and only takedown attempt as well, and it was turning into a real competitive fight.
And stopping that takedown was a huge deal. A number of you that bet on Tom did it under the premise, well, Tom can just take him down. Well, if Tom can't strike him, he'll just take him down. And I pushed back on that. I pushed back to ask you, where was your evidence coming from that Tom could just take him down? Well, John Jones took him down. What's that got to do with Tom taking him down?
Man, Cyril Gane did not, he was not afraid of Tom. And it looked like Tom was antsy to kind of get the finish a little bit because he's been so accustomed to finishing everybody that he was almost racing for the knockout.
Remember how we said, I don't see a world where Cyril Gane wins this fight? We were entering that world at that point, it looked like.
Everything that people said, if Cyril's going to have a chance, which we all said, and we even said that he absolutely had a chance, especially if he can stick, move, hurt him, be competitive on the feet, which we know he's going to be. But more importantly, if his movement and his takedown defense are on point, he's going to be an issue if it's just a striking match. And it was turning into that first round. It was just going to be a striking match. And my God, you see how dangerous that man is when he's just left to being moved.
Tommy was chasing him around. It was almost like Tommy felt like, I'm supposed to walk through you, so I'm just going to keep walking forward, not really setting anything up. And he was trying to launch all these attacks, and it wasn't very successful. Now, he was throwing beautiful combinations, but the combinations weren't landing, so it don't count for nothing.
And Cyril was really moving well, but the number one thing that he did was his reactions and his reflexes defensively. Cyril had one where Tom came to hit him. I hope you guys see this. He looked beautiful doing it. Oscar De La Hoya used to do this. But Cyril, right here, Tom comes to hit him, and the moment that it touches a whisker, Cyril just turns his own head, and the punch just misses.
Gane looked great with the jab. His lateral movement was strong. Tom had a hard time. I think, there's a question about how hard he was looking for the takedown, but he couldn't get it. He was able to land some good leg kicks. There was a couple times he had a cross that would follow up. That long right, it was fast. It could cover distance. That was pretty good. But he wasn't corralling the movement of Cyril Gane. He wasn't controlling for it. And as a consequence, Gane's just rotating. It
is funny to watch Aspinall and Gane get caught in their orbit. And I'm not even joking. They're literally orbiting them like a fucking planet in the center of the octagon as they waddle around coming forward, and Gane and Aspinall are scooting around. And when you get two movers, it almost becomes like we're watching two Beyblades go round. Yep. You know what I mean? Let it rip. And then Gane and Aspinall are like circling round, and Gane circling more, and it becomes like this sort of like gyroscope, I think is the term for it, where Tom's sort of like circling to where normally he would be cutting an angle on a blob of a heavyweight, like a big blobster. But then there's Cyril Gane who's kind of circling with him, so it's almost throwing it off.
For the moments that we saw, however, the fight was going the way that Cyril thought it would go. The fight was going right along the lines of what Cyril and his team planned for. The fight was a bit of a surprise for Tom and their team.
Tom comes out like he normally does, Henry. Very aggressive. Landing strikes. He was. Landing strikes. But Cyril Gane was taking those strikes. We saw Tom, in the beginning of a fight, Henry, in that first minute, your energy, your adrenaline's up because you're trying to figure out the pace of the fight. You're pushing, they're replying, they're coming back, and you're trying to just kind of figure out what's going on here in this fight. So that's happening, and I can see, I'm sitting right there. I can see that huffing and puffing. One guy, I think, was content to let this fight build. And the other guy wanted to end the fight the way he's accustomed to early on. And that wasn't happening.
The fight starts. Both men look great, right? It was a close round. this narrative that he was getting his arse kicked isn't true. It was a close round. Both men were having their moments. Tom Aspinall, I think, is a victim of his own success because he's so used to just walking through everyone. And that's how he showed up. Fair play to him. The man had balls. He went right at Cyril Gane, tried to take him out of there. But Cyril is not your average guy. He's a big, strong, gifted striker, moves well, light on the feet, and he was getting out of the way. He was landing his own shots.
I know we didn't get to see the fight long, but in what we saw, that was going to be the toughest fight of Tom Aspinall's career. And I can say that very confidently because I saw him with his face, nose all bloody from a jab of Cyril Gane, who landed it multiple times over the course of that first round.
And a lot of people are saying, dude, he landed like 20 jabs. He didn't land like 20 jabs. I swear about 4 or 5 solid jabs from Gane is what I counted. Maybe 6. And there was like 4 of them where I thought, oh, that's a good jab from Gane. Stung Tom right on the nose, which obviously was already bugging him a little bit.
Aspinall going to the head 14 times, to the body 5, to the leg 8. Gane upstairs just a little bit, to the body more so, and then to the leg, especially taking out the wheels. Dude, this is a good game plan by Gane. This is a good game plan. Taking out the wheels and going to the body of Aspinall, slowing him down, that actually made a lot of sense. Tom's face was all bloodied and messed up. You know what I mean?
Tom had a runny, bloody nose from round 1. Some people's nose runs when they get hit. Tom's, I guess, one of those guys. All right? Got hit in the nose with a shot early. His nose started to run. Might have been a bad look.
Bloody nose and all, but then with 4 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the first round, he very clearly, Cyril Gane did very clearly poke Tom Aspinall in the eye, in both eyes. Somehow, outstretched hand, fingers went into both eyes, and it was the right eye that really proved to be the worst of the two. And Tom Aspinall, after almost taking the full 5 minutes, saying repeatedly he could not see. Referee Jason Herzog consulting with the referee and declaring that the fight would end in a no contest due to an unintentional foul.
Gane eye poked. He's a dirty fighter. He does this every single fight he has. He's a dirty piece of shit. Every fight he has, he eye pokes someone, or he groin shots them, or he back of the head shots them to a TKO finish. One of the dirtiest fighters on the roster, and I don't think I've seen a point taken from him yet in his entire career.
I don't know what the answer is, but when you're leading, like you were just demonstrating, when you're leading like that, when you're throwing your hands with your fingers pointed out like that, it's just like everything else. Like, you don't grab the fence and you don't do that, right? Like, you don't just thrust your hands forward towards somebody's face with the fingers out.
He landed the eye poke and it didn't look that bad, but then he pushed straight into the eye with force on Tom Aspinall to reclaim distance, and Tom had to call off the fight. He can't see. He's going to go out there, get slept because he's blind and he can't get his eyesight back.
As soon as Tom started to say that he couldn't see, it was clear as day that that's what he was saying. I can't see. And Tom is a smart guy, as you know, as I know, as I think everyone in the sport knows. He knows exactly what it means when he's telling a referee that he can't see. The fight's going to get called. And so I think Tom knew that it was bad immediately. Unfortunately, man, 5 minutes ain't going to fix that. So I think we all kind of knew what was going to happen pretty quickly.
There's people saying online, well, he was saying multiple times, I can't see. If he wanted to continue, he shouldn't be saying that. The reality is, if he can't see...
Tell the truth.
If you can't see, you're allowed to say you can't see. People might point to me and say, well, you fought with one eye. Yeah, that was a secret because I shouldn't have been fighting. You know, Tom is the champion of the world. He doesn't want to go out there when his vision is impaired or vision is massively affected and potentially lose a fight that was shaping up to be a difficult fight.
The doctor walked away from him saying, I have no concerns with the eye. The commissioner was standing there and the commissioner said, if he keeps saying that, I have to stop this fight. So I literally said on camera, I'm going to walk away because I don't want to hear him say that. And he is perfectly, of course.
That's a smart referee, by the way.
Correct, because it's like, dude, I'm trying to, like, you have 5 minutes. Wait, you have 5 minutes. Don't say a word. You have 5 minutes. So I understand it's a title fight and the brevity of it, and to fight compromised against somebody as good as Cyril Gane is a major problem.
just like, you know, I can't make people fight, right? If I want to put together a fight, I can't make people fight. And you definitely can't make somebody continue if they feel they've been injured. Only Tom knows what happened. You know, could he see? Couldn't he see? Could he continue? Only he knows that.
If you listen to Jason Herzog talk to Gane's, I think he was talking to him specifically, but maybe someone close to, you could hear it, but you couldn't see it. He said, "I know it wasn't intentional, but it's still foul." Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That suggests to me that he was going to take a point away, right? If in fact the fight resumed.
As for what this is, I mean, I'm not going to say calamitous, but this is not great. Gane has made a series of errors in previous fights, typically the kind that only involves him suffering because of how bad the calculus is. But here is a case where he just engaged in undisciplined defensive contact, and it led to a disastrous result. It makes him look bad. It made the fight end in a totally anticlimactic manner.
All this eye poke stuff, it sucks because the fight ended that way, but I gotta be honest, I was more looking at the way Tom was fighting and I was not impressed. I was like, man, I know you're so much better than this. Just something out there just didn't seem like, maybe he just didn't get a good enough warm up in. I don't know what it is. I don't want to sit up here and make excuses for him. It just, like you said, it seemed like ring rust. It seemed like the timing.
He was headhunting.
Yeah, real life time fight speed was off. I don't know what it was. Something was off though.
Gane was invested in this by just him breaking down and, you know, crying essentially on his knees there. He wanted it as bad, right? Like, it's just, you can't, like, we go into this game and the whole idea is to find resolution and to like set up the next thing. There was so much at play, so much sideline interplay with everything going on. We got no resolution. There's only one thing to do to find that resolution now.
So overall, dude, the way that I see this fight, and I'm guarantee you John Jones is licking them fingers right now, man. Right now, as of right now, Tom is a one round fighter, bro. Like, I was curious to see him in that fifth.
John Jones, wherever he may be right now, is thinking, I should have taken that 30 million. There's no doubt about that. I should have taken that fight and I would have won that fight. That's what he's telling himself right now. There's no doubt about it. You know this because the moment he retired, he announced his comeback. So he already had buyer's remorse, so to speak, and now it's worse.
I'm just saying, for those who thought John Jones would maybe dispose of Tom Aspinall properly, these 4 minutes and 35 seconds and the ensuing no contest is not a bad thing for Team Jones.
All of that said, John Jones is looking very good in this situation, being like, guys, you guys think it's easy. You know, I go out there, I win fights. You guys, this is making the case for why I would rather fight Pereira instead of Tom Aspinall.
It just sucks as a fan of Tom Aspinall, who lost a year of watching Tom Aspinall because of this John Jones nonsense. God, his first time back, it's an eye poke. We kind of start all over again. It sucks.
I was just looking a moment ago on social media. People are already saying all kinds of things. They're saying that he was avoiding the fight. Oh, the first fight that he had where he saw a bit of adversity, where he couldn't take it down, where he was destined to go into the second round, and he quit. Okay, he's going to ignore all of those things. Of course, there's going to be talk about he was never the real champ. It was John Jones and all this kind of thing. You go through a training camp, this is a huge moment for him, and then it ends like that. He's just frustrated at the situation, just like the fans were. But for Tom right now, I mean, listen, they're going to run this fight back. They're going to run it back pretty soon, I would say.